Hi. There are just a handful of days left until Election Day 2008, so I hope that you will give me one last chance to convince you that it's vital to our country's future that we, the voters, use our collective voting strength as a weapon against the major political parties and their stranglehold on the governance of our nation. You see, once we realize that we have once again squandered our opportunity to demonstrate our outrage at Washington, D.C., and our significant voting power that we can use as a threat to the political status quo, we are going to suffer a massive case of voters' remorse. Now, unlike buyer's remorse, where the buyer can return the purchased item in a few days for a full or partial refund, voters' remorse can't be fixed in a few days. And as you begin to realize that the next president, no matter which gentleman wins the presidency, is not able to deliver the reform that he based his campaign promises on, you're going to have to let your outrage that you have been fooled once again build for 2 more years until you get the opportunity to fight back against Washington, D.C., and the Democrat and Republican parties with your voting power. Let me clearly state that I believe both candidates to be sincere in their desire to bring change, but I'm also 100% confident that their own political party colleagues, even those supporting them right now, will fight them tooth and nail on reform once the next president takes office. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but history supports my contention that those who are inside the political world will use all of their powers to resist reform. And why wouldn't they? The present system is working just fine for them. Let me ask you this. Do you think that it's simply coincidence that while we are experiencing the most severe financial crisis in years, fueled by greed, corruption, and incompetence, the largest political donors for the last few years have been the very financial institutions that have bilked our nation's citizens for billions of dollars in profits and bonuses, and now are being bailed out by Washington, D.C.? To paraphrase a former president, the Democrat or Republican political parties are not the answer to our nation's problems. They are the problem. The 2006 midterm election results were characterized by both party national committees as a mandate for change in Washington, D.C. Yet here we are 2 years later, with change for the worse, with both parties claiming to be the change agent that our nation needs. How long will we continue to be fooled by them before it's too late? No matter what they promise to do for Main Street, it should be obvious to all that both parties will, without fail, number one, place their own self-serving party goals above the needs of Main Street, and number two, auction off their legislative powers to the highest bidders in order to garner campaign contributions so they can even further their power base. Democrat and Republican politicians don't live on Main Street. They live on Pennsylvania Avenue, and K Street, and Wall Street, and that's where their friends, their neighbors, their cocktail party confidants live. They hobnob with their own, people with wealth, and especially power. So Joe the plumber, no matter how popular you seem to be with both parties during the campaign, once they've used you for their own gain, don't expect to be contacted again by your friends in politics. You're just a temporary pawn in their quest for power, not a member of their community. You are Main Street, and the major parties will not become interested in your opinions until 2010, when they are seeking your vote. Fellow voters, we have only one strategy available to us to force reform on Washington, D.C. and the major political parties. There are millions of us who are fed up with, disgusted with, and outraged at the way that both parties are conducting our government business in an incompetent and/or corrupt manner. We must join together and begin to strike fear into the Democrat and Republican parties by demonstrating that we are, number one, able to destroy one or both of the major political parties, and number two, that we are more than willing to do so. Please join me in voting for one of the third-party candidates for president in 2008. Vote for any of them. They won't win, but if we can garner 25 million votes for third-party candidates, we will have taken the first step in making the major parties start to fear voter backlash, and we will be able to build on that impetus. Right now, they have no fear of the voting public, and it enables them to deal only with their special interest friends and contributors. Your children's and grandchildren's futures are at stake, and their futures are doomed unless we take our rightful place in our nation's electoral process and literally make the politicians and the major parties fear us, the voting public. I repeat, make them fear the voting public more than they fear their special interest friends. We have the numbers to do this. We just have to get the guts to do it. November 4th, 2008. Vote for a third-party candidate for president, and let's get this voter revolution started.